Ghana's Lake Volta, a vital waterway for trade, transport and livelihood, also remains the scene of recurring boat tragedies. Now, just weeks ago, another fatal boat accident near Katakrache claimed the lives of 15 people, most of them children. This has once again raised hard questions about safety enforcement, regulation and public awareness on inland waters. In this edition of Hot Issues, we ask the simple question: why? Why do Ghanaian citizens continue to die on this passage as we all look on? I am Keminni Amanor, and on the program today, we will also explore the subjects of marine administration, pollution and security. My guest is Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali.
In the beginning, life feels heavy. But then, hope arrives. Star 446 hash saves you in the Day Watch of Money draw at 10 a.m.
Congratulations!
Doc, you're welcome to Hot Issues.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
I wanted to start with the most recent thing that has happened in this country, which is the boat tragedy on Lake Volta. People pointed to poor regulation, the absence of life jackets for the reasons that we continue to see this on the lake. But since it happened, what has the Maritime Authority done?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking. And let me once again convey the condolences of the Ghana Maritime Authority and the government to the families that lost their dear ones as a result of the boat accident that happened 2 weeks ago. We've had similar accidents earlier in the year and may have similar accidents in the course of the year. That is a complete reminder that transportation using canoe or boats is one of the major sources of transportation in Ghana. And what that means is that we have to strive hard to make it as safe as possible. Annually, if we look at the road side of it, for example, 2023, an average of 2,400 deaths. Last year, an average of about 2,500. This year, so far as at August, we registered close to 2,000 deaths. So it means that in almost every mode of transportation, we are having needless deaths or unavoidable deaths. This on the roadside is far more than we ever experienced on the water side. We've really never gone beyond 250 deaths in the water side. But on the water side, I mean on the lakes. But every death is very, very important. And it is for that reason that the recent incident must be taken seriously.
Right.
If you look at the circumstances surrounding the incident, that shouldn't have happened. The boat is a boat that is supposed to carry an average of about 7 people. On the day in question, that boat was carrying 19 people. And it is not that those who are manning the boat are unaware. They are aware. But they were just looking at it that this is midnight, and they are supposed to be crossing from one side of the village to the other. And interestingly, this is less than 100 meters journey. This is actually one village when there is low tide. But because of the high tide, I mean the water, it is divided normally. They have 2 high points of a village, one here, and in between there's a low-lying area. So this low-lying area is about 80 to 100 meters, and the people were just moving from one side of the village after a funeral to the other. So this is completely unavoidable. Avoidable. If they took just the number of people, about 8 on the average, this wouldn't have happened, but they overloaded it as many as 19 to 20 people, and that led to the accident. You also mentioned the issue of life jackets. Life jackets are extremely important because they provide you the second layer when you are going to have an accident, that you can stay afloat and be saved. We've had consistent challenges with having people accept to use life jackets. It's almost like people certain times avoiding to even simply strap themselves while sitting in a car, either in the back of the car or in the front of the car. So that has been happening consistently. We continue to enforce that. Of course, some costs come with that also, and realistically, some people don't also want to buy the life jackets. Let me tell you that if you look at some of the canoes that are operating commercially on our Volta Lake and our other places, either Volta Lake or go to Jomoro and other places, constructing one can cost as much as $300,000. So 300,000 cedis. On the average, about 200,000 cedis. So if you can't put this commercial activity in place, 250,000 cedis, and you need another 8,000, 10,000 to buy life jackets, even say that is, on the average, some of them may just need 3,000 to buy life jackets. You should be able to invest in that. But the culture is that this can be done, and we will be safe many times. But the one time that there will be an accident, it will lead to disaster. So we are continuing to enforce
How are you
safety.
enforcing?
Okay, so the Ghana Maritime Authority, we have a mandate over the inland waters. And let me tell you where we met the inland water governance or this. So when we assumed office, we were still very thin in the inland water areas. And
when you say you were very thin.
Yeah, we are very thin, and we are expanding. For example,
no, hang on, Doc.
Yes.
What does it mean when you say you were very thin in inland waters?
Yes, so I'm coming to that. Okay, so we have what we call searchlight officers that we use, and those are used as notes. From those notes, you then try to enforce around. We have a satellite office in Dambai. We have a satellite office in Yeji. Yes, and in one or two or a couple of other places, the Navy is also present, but not the Ghana Maritime Authority. Since we came into office, we are opening what we call the inland. We've opened the Inland Water Regulatory and Enforcement Office in Akosombo, so that from Akosombo we'll form the beachhead, or if you want, the headquarters, and from there we are very closer to the main catchment area of the Volta, rather than administering it straight from Accra. We have opened offices in Bando Takwa, including having a search and rescue boat there. You might have seen it. A whole search and rescue boat is there. But within that area of Bando Takwa, you have very serious accidents that happen there, just not with regards to the canoes, but even when it comes to the ferries. So we have put a search and rescue team there. And in addition, we have opened a satellite office there. We've opened a satellite office in Ketekrachi now. In Ketekrachi now. So,
after the incident?
Yes. So we're administering Ketekrachi from Dambai, but we have an office in Ketekrachi now also to look into that general area. Beyond the main Volta area, we are having in the plans of opening offices outside the main Volta, the black Volta and the white Volta. For example, the detachment in Wa or Laura area will come. We are having one in Saboba. Now, all these are meant more like a road safety or a navigational safety officers in these places, so that they can help enforce safety. But that is still going to be insufficient.
Okay.
It's going to be insufficient. So we are in the process of recruiting and deploying what we call the safety guards. So the safety guards will be more or less community-based. Because imagine that you cannot have Ghana Maritime Authority officers in every part of Ghana. But even the police, with all their thousands in numbers, cannot be everywhere in Ghana. But virtually, that is the way people see it. So we are looking at safety guards, community people that are community-based, in the process of recruiting them, training them, send them back to the community. They will be part of the community, and they can also be important voices and important actors in enforcing safety in these places.
Let's break that down. How many such officers are you hoping to recruit? What is the criteria for selecting communities where they will be? Yes.
So it's not going to be officers, to clarify again. They are just going to be safety guards.
Safety guards.
They are going
That's
to be
correct.
safety guards, yes. So what we have done is we've mapped out. There are so many crossing points in Ghana where boats are being used. We have an average of the major ones being about 350. So that's the major ones. But just imagine that anybody can take a boat and go anywhere. If I live in this area and I want to go to another town, I just need a boat. Just like all of us pick our cars and we start driving in each direction. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand.
Yes.
But those cars are licensed.
Yes.
Right? So in your enforcement effort, how do the boats also come in?
Okay. So we do what we call marking and numbering of boats.
Okay.
Yes, we do. So what we do is that we have a program, and substantially we go out from time to time, a number of times. It's a calendar that we have. Go to the community as far as Bupe, many other places. What we call load lines. The load line is meant to tell the boat owner that if you are loading this boat and you are even disregarding anything, when you get to this line, you are not supposed to add anything to the boat. And that's what we call load line. It's for ships, it's for boat, it's for anything that is floatable. Then we also give a number to them. A number to them. So the number is meant for us to be able to associate the person with the boat. But let's also be realistic. We do not have, as we speak, a regime in Ghana that says that if somebody is constructing a boat somewhere in Sampa, he must inform Ghana Maritime Authority before he constructs the boat in Sampa. It is after the person starts using it, then we'll come to know the person is using it. Then we will then make sure that we number the boat and we put it as part of our regulation.
Shouldn't that change?
Ideally, it should. Ideally, it should. It should. Yes. Culturally and in the environment in which we are now, we are not there yet. We are not there yet. But ideally, it should be.
But if that should change, are we looking at laws coming into play, or this could be an administrative decision that the Maritime Authority could take?
Beyond administrative decision, you need some form of legal framework. You know, ultimately, when people are not abiding by administrative decisions, you need to enforce. And once you need to enforce in a democracy and in any country, you start dealing with the law. So you will need some level. So we have what we call the Inland Water Regulatory. Previously, this was small, and we have identified that we need to expand it. So we are having an expanded regime coming in future, where this will be laid before Parliament through our ministry, the Ministry of Transport, and then this will go through parliamentary approval or parliamentary processes and be enacted into law.
I see. And that is likely to look at some sort of licensing for these canoes that ply our inland waters.
Exactly. It's licensed to, yes, the license the canoes that ply in our inland waters. And let me also say again that, you know, canoes are not just in our inland water, they are also in our maritime space. On the average, at the last canoe frame survey, we had about, on the seaside, we had about 12,000 to 14,000. On the land side, we're probably having another about 9,000 to 10,000. So on the average, you are dealing with about 22,000, and on the high side, you're about 25,000 small canoes in this country, which are all used in one form or the other.
I see. If we are able to do that, together with all the changes that you have told us about, how will that make maritime authorities work easier, but also save lives? Extremely important because that will be accountability. We know that this person has this boat. The boat is associated with the person. We are also able to check whether that person has purchased life jackets, and when was the last time that particular boat has been inspected, if any. It will help in enhancing some of the things that we are already doing, and it will ultimately lead to greater safety. In the beginning, you read my mind when you compared the Maritime Authority to the DVLA. I would even add Civil Aviation Authority as well. Yes. If they were doing their work like the way Maritime Authority is doing their work, we would die in this country, won't we? Because the number of boat incidents, considering that not everybody uses inland water, right, as a mode of transport, the Maritime Authority appears to be very reactive. Not at all. Not at all. I just pointed out to you that we have close to 3,000 deaths by road. Certain times, 2,500. No, let me come. Contextually. Kemi. Yeah, no. Contextually, those numbers are high. No, but there are also reductions. Yeah, realistically, as at August this year, we had 1,937 deaths, and we will hit the 2,000 and beyond. I'm saying that we never really went beyond 300 boat deaths in this country. Again, let's look at the context properly, Doc. In that, many more people use road transport than they do water transport. Yes. And so the ratio will not make it, the math come out accurately, as you're putting it. Yes. But again, also, it is also interesting that many of us really are not also aware of how many people use water transport. How many people use water transport in this country? Yes, boat transport. It's substantial also. It's substantial. In fact, if you don't live in that catchment areas, you don't realize how much they also use it. It's also something that is used just on a daily basis. But I do agree with you. And the larger difference is on the question of life jackets. The larger difference in the question, water transport is the most safest. Water transport is much safer than air transport. It's safer than road transport. It's safer than rail transport. And yes, it's the most safest. It is. Yes, it is the most safest. So the only difference is just because in this particular incident, as we mentioned, and in a number of cases, the culture and the enforcement of wearing life jacket is one that our people have been avoiding and which we continue to insist and enforce. I see. Yes. So you have a whole plan in place. You're looking to change things as far as water transport is concerned. But let's look at the incidents that happen, because one of the concerns is that when these incidents happen, nobody is held to account for the deaths that have occurred. Yes. What is changing in the Ketakrachi case? Is there any prosecution going on? Has somebody been arrested for this? Okay. So in the Ketakrachi case, as we speak, an investigation board has been set up.
The board is going to present its report, which will be an administrative report. Who are board members? The board members include major stakeholders, the assembly, member of parliament, a representative of the chiefs, NADMO, police, the Ghana Maritime Authority, and we expect their report expeditiously, as we have sanctioned the process, to be ready next week. It is to further inform what administrative measures that we have to take in this particular situation. You said, who is to be prosecuted? A very difficult question. In this particular case, the young man who is manning the boat, 14 years or so, himself died.
But who owns it?
You know, that is, it is owned by parents. It's owned by parents of the person.
And again, I want my viewers to understand what you're saying.
Yes.
In the Ketakrachi case.
Okay, not in the Ketakrachi district case.
In the Ketakrachi district case.
Yes.
In which...
It's Akuma. The village is called Akuma or thereabout. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're saying that the boat belongs to the parents of the boy who died?
The small canoe, the canoe.
I
Yes,
see.
Yes.
And what have we done with the parents of the boy?
Oh, but you can't harass the parent for the
But they own the boat.
Oh, yes, they own the boat.
So why can't we hold them accountable for the deaths?
Oh, there is not really culpability of law in that regard.
Even though they are owners of the boat?
Yes, there's no legal culpability in that regard. Yes, of course, administratively and other things, we are taking steps to ensure that they don't do such things, but culpability is not something that you can establish in this regard as to hold the father and say you are prosecuting the father.
No, as to hold the owner of the boat.
Yes, yeah.
Who did not adhere to the regulations.
Yes. Of course, he didn't adhere to the regulation to the extent that the son who was using the boat in this particular instance had more people on the boat than they are supposed to be. But it wasn't the fact that the father actually saw what is happening and refused to let it and allow it to happen. Yes, so.
I see. So it means that we really have not had, we have not been able to bring anybody to justice for the overcrowding of our canoes on the waterways. And that's why it keeps happening.
No, when there are instances and people have overloaded boats and we have seen them, we'll arrest them, we'll fine them for doing that. I'm just saying that in this particular instance, the boy who was in charge himself died in the course of the drowning. So I'm saying that you cannot establish culpability now. But assuming that we have people overloading boats, and in many instances we do, we seize the boat, we enforce the law, we fine them. Those things are on record.
How many of such instances
they
have
happen,
you had?
Yeah, it's not a question about they happen regularly. We have people there and they do it all the time. They do it all the time, just like
So they do it all the time, yet
Yes.
we continue to see overcrowding of the boats. It means that the sanction is not punitive enough. What is the fine for overloading your canoe or boat?
No, it depends. It depends on the particular size of the boat, and it depends on the number of infractions that are identified. So
give me a range.
It could be anything. It could be 500 cities. It could be a couple of thousands of cities.
Is that what human life is worth when you are going on that boat?
Yeah, but we are enforcing regulation. It's much like if you were to say that somebody is not having a reflector. DVLA law will say that we charge the person 200 cedis, and you said it's the human life. We are not necessarily saying the fine replaces the human life, but the fine is being imposed here as a matter of sanction and make sure that the person will do the thing in future. But we can never equate any amount of money that you put on it to the human life, not at all.
That is an up-down a comparison of the situation that I have just put across.
Yes.
So my again, I'd ask the question in a way that perhaps you can give me a proper answer.
Yes.
Should we change that? Should we make sanctions more punitive for communities where they continue to break the regulations that come with using the waterways?
Yeah, absolutely. It is important to continue to, first of all, build your enforcement regime, educate people the more, hold them administratively responsible, and also when there's a need for sanctions, make the sanctions more punitive. I wouldn't say it is not important. It is important as we go along to make sanctions more punitive. But it takes quite a lot for us to do that collectively as a people.
How old must you be in order to man a boat or a canoe?
18 years and above.
But a 14-year-old was manning the Ketakrache district incident boat, the
Yes.
Akum,
Yes.
incident.
Yes.
And you tell me that you can't hold the parent culpable in any way? Or the owner of the boat?
Oh, yes, the owner of the boat, you can hold the owner of the boat administratively responsible. But the law hasn't created a criminal culpability to the owner of the boat. That's what I'm saying.
Again,
Yes.
let's compare to the road situation.
Yes.
Right? You have to be 18 and above to have a license in this country to drive.
Yes.
We remember recently that there was a young man who had driven and got into an accident. He was underage. His parents were held culpable to an extent of what had happened.
To what extent?
There was prosecution in the case
Yes,
as well, even
okay.
even of the parents.
Okay.
So when we transfer that
Yes.
into the water transport
Yes,
situation,
yes.
where you tell me that legally speaking, you have to be 18 and above before you can man a boat or a canoe by yourself.
Yes.
On the waterway.
Yes.
And an incident of this magnitude has happened. And yet you say that the owner who gave rights to the underage young man who unfortunately himself has passed
Yes.
and killed 15 other people along with him.
Yes.
You cannot hold that owner, forget about the parents, let's call that person an owner. You cannot hold that owner responsible for the deaths that have occurred.
No, I've told you that the current regime has not provided culpability for that. But that's why I also told you earlier that we are later.
No, but if someone breaks
No. I'm saying the current legal regime has not created culpability for that.
What does that mean?
Which means I'm saying that the law currently has not said that if a parent allow the child to man a boat or somebody below the boat, that the person must be held responsible.
Again, let's stop using parent because
Yes.
it makes it a bit emotional. Did the owner not break the law?
No, I'm saying that currently the law doesn't say that if the owner of the boat allows somebody to underage to use it, that the owner is responsible. So there is no breach of the law. I'm saying the law has not.
But is it then that, are you saying that to me because then it is not in the law that you have to be 18?
No.
For you to man the boat?
Yes, you must be able to put it into different, if you want, in different areas. The age to man is there, but I'm saying that.
And so if you are not 18 and you man the boat,
yes,
what are the sanctions for that?
No, you are not supposed to man the boat, and then you will be held responsible for manning for taking a boat under which you are underage. But I'm saying that currently, the legal regime has not extended it as to say that if the boat is then used, the owner of the boat is criminally or can be prosecuted.
Responsible for what has
I'm
happened.
saying. That's why I say that we are looking further and further at enhancing the law.
So how many of such young children do we see on the boat manning water transport?
It tries to happen from time to time, and our people always prevent it. You know, also because they just think it is cultural. They just think it is part of them. For some communities, just manning a boat looks to them like a child moving a bicycle. You understand? It is something they have grown with. It's something that they have always done. So that cultural perspective, that there is no danger in it, exists.
Right.
So as a regulatory body in that area, what we do is to work hard as to make sure that we prevent it and change the tide. Otherwise, there's a propensity to do that very many times.
Doc, let's look at other things that the Maritime Authority is expected to do.
Okay.
The authority also looks at ocean governance, so to speak. You look at issues to do with marine pollution and security as well.
Yes.
So let's look at some of those things as important as they are to us in this country. Let's start off with trade and the blue economy as we have it, right? Help us understand the GMA's role in that aspect of our marine ecosystem.
Okay. So we are a coastal state, and because we are a coastal state, we have a maritime space. As an authority, we regulate shipping and shipping activities in such a way that Ghana as a country can maximize its benefit from maritime trade, but also to limit the possibility of some of the adverse effects.
Right.
For example, issues of security or insecurity that may flow out of the presence of vessels. We address that. You've talked about pollution, which is what we address. Okay, so let me practicalize it and you look at it. As an authority, hundreds of vessels come into our ports and also traverse our coast. So as an authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, we man the maritime space, or we try to, as much as possible, have enough information on the maritime space. So if you hear of something we call the Vessel Traffic Monitoring System, this is a device that allows us, from our operational room, just as you are here, to be able to see vessels that are in our maritime space. So we track them. Some of these vessels may be coming into port. Some of them are not coming into port. They are just passing through our coast. And why do we track them? We track them for a number of reasons. We track them for safety considerations, for security considerations, for environmental pollution. And we just don't do that alone. We do that with other stakeholders. For example, the VTM, the Vessel Traffic Monitoring System that we have is shared with some main stakeholders in the country. For example, the Ghana Navy, the Marine Police, Customs, Immigration, Narcotics Control, Narcotics Control Commission. We even give something to, if I remember, West African Gas Pipeline. So these are the things that we do. So it helps us monitor the vessels, and then we are able to communicate with some of these main stakeholders in dealing with that. Ghana Maritime Authority, we provide and expected to provide for the manpower planning of Ghana when it comes to the maritime industry. This is a strategic responsibility that allows us to be looking at the global trends in the maritime environment and to be able to advise government on what is expected. As a matter of fact, expected to even be able to offer policy advice through our line of communication, which is our ministry, to the government, even on other issues that other stakeholders are dealing with. For example, port. Port deal with their port operations. But we, as a maritime authority, can look at global trends and be able to tell Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority that this is what we are seeing. May you take that into consideration. So this is some of the things that we do. When it comes to vessels that arrive in our port, we undertake what we call safety inspections on board these vessels. It's almost like cars that are running on our roads. We have to make sure that they are safe. So we also undertake what we call safety inspections on board the ships. We have what we call post-state control. So our officers will board the ships, go through the ship, look at the basic safety requirements and the manning requirements. Because imagine if we were to have a break of a vessel at our sea or a collision, it can lead to a major incident. So we physically go on board these vessels to inspect safety requirements. We physically go on board the vessel to inspect environmental requirements. For example, where was the last time that the vessel emptied its waste and at which port?
Right.
So we'll inspect and get to know that, okay, the waste was discharged at this port and they have given a certificate. Otherwise, we will be able to, and we will look at what is the level of waste that is on board the ship. This will allow us to know whether this particular vessel, for example, in the course of its journey, has not emptied its waste into our waters. That can pollute the waters and also cause substantial environmental damage.
Have you encountered any situation of concern to the authority?
Yes, certain times we do. And when we do, we detain those vessels. I'm not saying this year. We detain those vessels and we find them very punitively.
Right, so this year we haven't experienced anything of that sort?
No, we haven't experienced anything this year. So we continue to do that, and we do this with other countries. We have what we call certain cooperative regimes, and that helps us do and communicate with our neighboring countries. In our region, we call that what we call the Abuja region. Abuja region stretches from all the west coast of Africa, from South Africa, the other side of South Africa or Namibia, all the way to Cape Verde. So we cooperate all to collectively ensure such safety requirements.
How would you score Ghana in its ability to protect its marine ecosystem?
Very high. We recently, I should have carried it here, just only 2 weeks ago, we won the best reward for
Where?
the whole, yeah, we just had the Abuja MOU summit that happened in Guinea Conakry two weeks ago, and Ghana Maritime Authority was adjudged as the best in the whole of the west coast of Africa. Our sanctions, our inspections, the quality of reports that we turn in to the Abuja. So the whole world is classified into 5 MOUs. 5 MOUs. So you have what you call the MOU regions, and we are the Abuja region, and we top the Abuja region. So I would say
that's for the Maritime Authority.
Yes, Ghana Maritime Authority.
Okay,
yes.
but the question I'm asking is generally how the country is faring in protecting its maritime ecosystem.
We are substantially a very respected country in that regard. As somebody who has spent years in maritime, I will say that there is always room for improvement, and we have to do a lot. But when you go to the international level, how we are perceived and how we are seen in terms of the delivery of our stewardship, either at the International Maritime Organization, at the International Oil Pollution, everywhere we go, we are substantially respected for what we do, but there is still the need for us to do a lot.
How do we put that side by side when some articles say that Ghana and Nigeria are 2 of the 3 countries that pollute the Gulf of Guinea a lot, which spans 17 coastlines from Senegal to, Angola. But these 2 countries, well, there are 3, I forget the third one, but, Ghana, Nigeria is 2 of the 3 countries that pollute the ecosystem a lot.
Oh, I haven't seen that. It came from whose source?
Well, it's one of the articles on the marine ecosystem of the Gulf of Guinea.
I haven't seen it, but it could be used broadly. For example, when it comes to the area of dealing with plastics, we are not doing well. We are not doing well. There's substantial plastic use in this country, and there's substantial runoff from this country into the sea. And that is one area that we really really need to change the culture of plastic use in this country, and then the culture of treatment of waste in this country. It's a major thing, and we need to do that. Currently, if you look at what is happening, our fishermen can go to sea and they'll cast a net and they'll get as much plastics as they will get, even certain times more than the fish that they have. So this is one major area that we are supposed to do. And we are one of the relatively populated countries also. So when we don't regulate waste, such as plastics, that can happen. Occasional also to the issue of effluents getting into the water is also one area that we have to look at as a country. But again, it is part of the whole dynamic of not taking care of our waste. Certain times when it's to rain, people will come and empty all manner of things, into the gutters, and this gets run off, into the sea. So I wouldn't know what the report was looking at, but if you are looking at some major areas of pollution, you wouldn't find us to be defective. But I will concede if we are looking at something like plastics, which is a general thing. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether you have to, if you go to Lomé, if you go to Cotonou, look at the beaches and look at our beaches. You don't need anything to tell you that we are doing poorly in the management of plastics. And it's also something that I'm personally passionate about.
Well, I mean, so what could be the solution to that?
It's a larger national solution that we need. How we as a country manage our plastics in this country is a major national dialogue. And as you are aware, the whole issue of plastics and how it is supposed to be managed, let me say that this is not a primary responsibility of the Ghana Maritime Authority.
Absolutely.
The Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and agencies such as the EP, Environmental Protection Authority, are the key agencies in this.
Yeah, but these are all your stakeholders.
Yes, these are our stakeholders, yeah. So, but collectively as a country, I think we need to do something about our plastic use. But let me come to you. How many times do you use plastic? Water bottle. Do you carry your own bottle to this office and make sure that, or your own cup, and make sure that you use that all the time? Do you buy Voltic often? If you do, when you go to the shop, do you agree for them to give you plastics? When you are shopping, do you carry a bag with you when you are going to shopping? You buy something on the road, just in your car, banana. oranges and they put it in plastics and they give to you and you receive it in your car. You are going home. Why do you accept it?
Why don't you accept it?
I never accept it. I've been very conscious of this. I will never accept it. I will not let you give me banana in plastics when I'm in my car. No, I wouldn't do that. Because as soon as you get home, that thing is going into the bin.
So there needs to be a cultural change as well.
There needs to be a cultural
I see.
change.
When you were talking about the, waste management, one of the things we didn't discuss is oil and industrial waste as well.
Okay.
How are our rigs doing when it comes to disposing of, waste?
Our rigs are doing well. They follow the safety protocol religiously, and we also inspect them in that regard. The rigs are more or less a living area. Because a living area, they are also floating platforms, so they come under our management. So they will do everything a ship will do. People live there, they will bath, they will use all manner of waste. So they have got treatment and also emptying of what is supposed to be emptied, and they are doing very well in that regard.
I see. A few things I want us to talk about, because this year we know that the GMA was signed onto something with Vanuatu. If I remember correctly. We also know that about 2 years ago there was a marine an MPA or map for the Cape 3 Points area. Now, how important are those things to our ability to properly administer our marine life?
Okay, yeah. So recently, as you probably saw in the news, this year when His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama came into office, he took the bold steps and through our work and our ministry to sign what we call the Cape Town Agreement. The Cape Town Agreement is meant for us to raise the standards of our governance of our fishing vessels to a certain level. So that is what we call the Cape Town Agreement, so that the vessels will be better in terms of their living accommodation, the standard, and their compliance. The reason is that generally the first focus of international regulation was on commercial shipping. And generally, because fishing vessels and trawlers are smaller, they were always left at the national level. Gradually, it was decided that globally we should govern them. So the Cape Town Agreement was then put together as a global instrument. Many countries are still not parties to it, but the government felt that it is important that as a country we show our commitment and our stewardship. So the president did that, and only 2 weeks ago we submitted the instrument of ratification and deposited with the IMO Secretary General in London. So that was what we did. So Vanuatu was also doing the same thing on the same day. So that's why the news came out that Ghana and Vanuatu signed the Cape Town Agreement. It wasn't that it was between us. It's a global instrument, and we are part of the early committees to that particular global commitment. And thanks to the leadership of the Minister of Transport and His Excellency the President for doing that, and our other stakeholders, including the Minister for Fisheries.
And so when it comes into effect,
yes,
what impact would it have on us?
Okay. What impact is going to have is that we are going to enhance in fact, not even when it comes to effect alone. Now we can start doing that even on our own before it comes into effect globally. Maybe not us as collectively, but our fishing industry, the trawlers that are working there, we are going to enhance their regulation, their supervision, living standards of crew, and many other things. So that is what is going, and also make sure that we hold them even much more accountable for their actions. So that is what it meant. Then you asked the question about an MPA, Marine Protected Area. Okay, so this is meant to generally reduce activity in that area as a matter of enhancing the productivity in that area and to kind of like preserve the place. So that is what the MPA is. So it is then expected that people should not be intruding into the place. So although the MPA may be looked at from a fisheries point of view, it is something that the Ghana Maritime Authority also play a major role on.
Yeah, which is what we want to understand.
Yes.
What will be your role in that Cape 3 Points MPA?
Okay. Our role will include, first of all, international communication, the designation. The reason being that, you see, just like humans humans are on land, vessels and canoes are on sea. And the vessels and canoe come to us. They come under the Ministry of Transport. So although this was being looked at from a fisheries perspective, but we will have to internationally enforce this.
Right.
We will have to communicate to the international community that an MP has been declared by Ghana. So it will now have it gazetted at the international level, have it gradually transposed into either digital or paper maps, because a captain is sailing across Ghana waters. He is not aware that there was any news in Ghana that said there's an MPA here. Even the Ghanaian is not aware on daily basis that there was a news.
Right.
The captain must see it reflected in his electronic map, his or her electronic map, or the physical chart that an MP has been declared. This is the work of Ghana Maritime Authority and the Ministry of Transport to make sure that that is done. So when this is done also, since we also look into the maritime space, all manner of activities, especially ships, then we also make sure that when a ship is coming into our maritime space, we are in communication just to make sure that they are respecting the MPA and what they are supposed to do within the MPA area. If it is a completely avoidable MPA, we have to look at. But if it's also an MPA where you can still pass, you can still sail through, but with some limited activities, we have to use that.
So what's the situation with the Cape 3 Points MPA?
We are yet to get the final synchronization with our major stakeholder. Yes, that is the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Fisheries and the Fisheries Commission. So this is the intent, but further things have to be developed to properly govern the MPA.
Yes, I see.
Yes.
So then we can say that it's still in the works.
Exactly.
Okay. But when did it actually come into effect? Was it before you came to office?
No, just a couple of weeks ago. There has been the discussion of the MPA,
right?
But this is about the formal declaration of it. The formal declaration I've just started.
So it's still quite in the works.
It's quite very young. It's quite very young.
I see. So then it brings me to, because of the explanation you've just given, it brings me to the issue of illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing,
yes,
right? And I know, again, you are a stakeholder to this fight, right? But talk to us about some of the challenges that you face as Maritime Authority because of the situation.
Okay, so IUU, as we call it, illegal, unregulated fishing, happens in different respects. One is just simple that the person is illegally taking the fish when the person is not supposed to take the fish. But one can also be that the person is using the wrong type of net when the person is not supposed to use that net. One can be that the person is fishing more than the number of days that they have been allocated to fish. One can be that the person is fishing outside where they are supposed to fish. Okay, so it depends. If you are looking at the trawlers, we look at the flag aspect of the trawlers. So when a fishing trawler is supposed to undertake fishing in Ghana, we give what we call the flag, the Ghana flag for the fishing vessel to fly. The Ministry of Fisheries give them the license to fish. So they track.
So what does it mean for you to give them the flag?
The flag means that it comes under our jurisdictional control and administrative enforcement. Every vessel, everything that is floating at sea must come under the jurisdiction of a country. Otherwise, it is stateless and it can be seized. So these vessels then have to fly our flag, and that means that they are subject to our laws and subject to our regulation. So, and we are the registry, the ship registry of Ghana. So we hold the ship registry of Ghana and the vessel registry. So that's what we will do. And the Ministry of Fisheries will then also look at the fisheries aspect. So when it comes to the regulation of the fisheries activity, that comes under the Ministry of Transport. But let me say that we also provide a layer for them. Because we also see these vessels on our VTMIS, we are able to help the Ministry of Fisheries and the Fisheries Commission with some information. Otherwise, on the activity of the fisheries itself, that is the Fisheries Commission and the Ministry of Fisheries.
So let's look at the problem as we face it in Ghana, because again, I read articles that said that the European Commission had put Ghana on a yellow card, because of the activities of IUU. So this complex problem, definitely you play a role, just as you've mentioned to us, right? Do they get the license before they get a flag from you? Is that in terms of operations, they get the license, then they get the flag from you? Is that correct?
In a way, but it happens almost simultaneously.
Ah, right.
Yes.
So how do you determine that this person that is coming, it is indeed someone we should give the flag to?
It is something that the Ministry of the Maritime Authority and the Fisheries Commission work collaboratively with, and our ministries also work collaboratively with that. For example, you cannot bring a fishing vessel to Ghana without seeking the Ministry of Transport approval. So you will seek the approval, and you will state why you are bringing it. If why you are bringing it is that you are coming to undertake fishing activities, we will demand to know whether the ministry so the minister will send it to us, and we will provide technical input to the minister. Then one of the requirements is to know whether there is a fishing license that is going to be issued. Right. So we will do that synchronization with the Fisheries Commission, and our ministries will also do that synchronization. So we work in tandem, say that any vessel that fishing vessel that we are supposed, we could give a fishing vessel a flag. Even if, for example, it intends to fish in the high seas, we can still license it to fish in the high seas. So in that case, it is still between us and the Ministry of Transport, but that vessel is not fishing within our waters.
Okay.
But if it is to fish in our waters, most importantly, that kind of synchronization and coordination takes place before the license is given. So there will now be a dual license, a registry license, and then a fishing license. So
how do we deal with the issue around, foreign trawlers with Ghanaian fronters, so to speak, people who front for these foreign trawlers, and then come and fish in our waters? How do you go around that with the system that exists right now?
Yes. No, when you say how do you go around that, what do you mean?
I mean, so in terms of how you have explained the issue, right? How do we deal with that problem where the foreigners are in our waters under the guise of being owned by foreigners? Yeah. Excuse me, Ghanaians.
How do we deal with it?
How do we deal with it?
Oh, no, those in our waters are actually partners of Ghanaians. So it's almost like if you were to go out and you see an industry somewhere in Tema, or a company somewhere where you have foreign people with Ghanaians. So they are partners of Ghanaians. So which means that they don't hold a fishing license. They don't hold a fishing license. The fishing license is held by a Ghanaian company. So
it's not as much a problem as it's made out to be?
It can be. Okay. It can be. It just depends on how you're looking at it. It can be. But because you are asking me from the Ghana Maritime Authority point of view, so I say that ultimately a license is given to a Ghanaian, and the Ghanaian have a partner, and the partner is the one that brings the vessel. So what we need to ensure is that we make sure that they do their activities in conformity with the law in such a way that it doesn't affect our fisheries resources. So I wouldn't say there are no concerns. There are key concerns to address in that regard.
Initially, we had mentioned, the blue economy and, its impact on the Ghanaian people. From where you sit, how expansive is this blue economy? What jobs can it create for the Ghanaian people if we pay crucial attention to it?
Yes. Okay. So that is a very huge question. So you look at it that we are dealing with a marine space that is about at least 70% of the land size of Ghana. Within this space, you have different level of potential. The most basic one is fisheries resources, which that one itself in the value chain, if we are able to manage, it's a substantial one. If we are able to manage it very well, through the value chain and making sure that we aggregate all the benefits, we can get quite a lot of employment. We are looking at our seafaring industry. although not necessarily that they have to work within our waters, but it is also part of the blue economy globally. And Ghana is one of the biggest respected seafaring source for globally. What it means that our shipping, our captains, our engineers, marine engineers, and our ratings are well respected. And that's why we have the Regional Maritime University here. So since we have come into office, what we are doing is trying to drive also the interest in our seafarers. There has been some level of technical issues. One of the technical issues is that before you are finally employed, it's almost like for you to get to this level, to be entrusted with responsibility in TV trade, you ought to have gone through a whole lot of training. So what we call sea time. Sea time is more like, you can call it internship or practice. But you know, ships are very small. So the global community are very hesitant at allowing people, just like even when you want to do internship on land, it's very challenging. How more you are supposed to do internship or sea time on board a ship, where you will just be among some 15 crew traveling around the world. So it's a very technical issue. So, and because we don't have ships in Ghana, we don't have flags in Ghana. Our flags are just a number of fishing vessels here and there, on 1 or 2 commercial vessels. We are not able to impose a regulation that says that if you fly our flag, then you must have our cadets for internship. So it led to a point where our cadets are not having the sea time. And because they are not having the sea time, although they have quite a lot of intelligence, energy, well respected, it's like they haven't crossed the threshold that is needed. So which is one of the areas that we are working. We have recently secured opportunities for some of them on board some vessels to do their sea time. And we are pushing it. We've been discussing with partners, and that is coming. We have also entered into some MOUs with some of the big shipping companies that are looking at recruiting more of Ghanaian seafarers. And seafaring is a very respectable job. Let me just whet your appetite. If somebody were to go through, training to become a marine engineer and have his first certificate of competence to start working on board a ship, either in the engine room or on the deck, the person might be starting with just a minimum of $2,500 of salary. And this could increase by the years. By 10 years' time, 12 years' time, a master mariner or a master mariner could be earning $12,000, $15,000. So it is a major area, and we haven't really galvanized our effort completely, and we're trying to increase that momentum.
That's by setting up the university.
Yes, that's because of these other challenges that I have. So you remember historical, we had Black Star Line. So when we had things like Black Star Line, they were part of the strategic, if you want, to leverage us. So it wasn't just meant to be carrying goods. It was to help build, because how do you build that seafarer who MEX will want to employ, who CMJ will want to employ? The person must have the experience. And where will the person get the experience? The person has to work somewhere. So these are some of the things. So it's because we haven't really got a flag. And that is why I'm saying that we have those bottlenecks which we are addressing.
Indeed. I mean, should we start to go back to conversation around having a semblance of Black Star Line again?
Perhaps we are unlikely to do that, because we've moved towards where many things are becoming privatized. But I will say that it will be important that as a country, we look into encouraging our private investment in that area. Running vessel is a complicated area. And let me say that the global north have also secured it in such a way that penetration becomes difficult for the global south countries, developing countries. But we should find ways and means of pushing gradually, and it requires quite a lot of resources. Maybe a major seagoing vessel could require something like $1 billion, to buy, or $500 million, or before you even lay the keel, you may be required to put $200 million. So it is not an area that the investment, that the capital is small, but it is an area that we as a country should put our vision there to push some of our private investors to go into that area.
Doc, you have a lot of work on your hands.
Yes.
But
And you didn't ask me to read. See, as a lawyer also, I brought this. And one of the reasons I brought this as a lawyer was to read the mandate of the Ghana Maritime Authority.
But
thank you so much. I've also been very surprised with how deep you have read and you have your research into the area. Yes.
I'm glad you noticed.
Yes.
But thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Dr. Kamaldeen Ali is Director General for the Ghana Maritime Authority. We've been looking at the marine ecosystem and the role of the authority in all of that. If you missed it, there's a playback on all our social media handles. But that's it for this week on Hot Issues. I'm Keminni Amanor. Bye-bye.
La, 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 la.